Namo Phat. Good morning. Thanks for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I'm determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. For our Dharma lessons, we're reading Ajahn Amaro's book, Catastrophe, Apostrophe. We're finishing a section this morning on the unborn, the uncreated. One of the most significant things we recite when recollecting the attributes of the Triple Gem are the qualities of the Dharma, apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation. To speak of the timeless, the unborn, the deathless, might sound a bit spacey and remote, a bit airy-fairy. However, it's not referring to some supercosmic realm somewhere else. Rather, it is the fabric of our own heart. The aim of Buddhist practice is to discover this liberated quality of our own being that we've had with us all the time. It is the very foundation of what we are, but we have not noticed it, having been preoccupied with worldly concerns. To borrow a phrase from Christian tradition, it's closer to us than we are to ourselves. To continue the story, the Buddha was a very quick learner. He realized that a straightforward declaration was not helpful. So when he met with his 5 friends, he adopted a method of analysis instead. Rather than telling them, this is the ultimate reality, he used a way of reflecting on anicca, dukkha, and anatta to help his friends arrive at that realization for themselves. They started off with anicca and with the body. He asked, is the body changing? Is the body in a state of change? They answered, yes. Then he said, if something is changing, it is subject to affliction or not subject to affliction. Then they answered, it is subject to affliction. The body can be sick. It can break apart. The Buddha then asked, if something is changing, if it is subject to affliction, then is it something that can be permanently satisfying? They answered, it cannot be permanently satisfactory if it is subject to affliction and is in a state of change. It is necessarily dukkha, unsatisfactory. Then the Buddha asked, so, if the body is in a state of change, subject to affliction, and is unsatisfactory, is it appropriate to say of it, this is mine, this is what I am, this is my true self? They replied, no, it's not appropriate to say that. At the Buddha's time, as with Vedic philosophy today, there was the idea of the Atman, the self. Atman was thought of as being permanent and blissful and truly who and what we are. Its qualities comprising Sat Chit Ananda, being, consciousness, bliss. So, in a sense, the Buddha is aiming right at those beliefs of his time. If the characteristics of Atman are meant to include permanence and bliss, the body cannot be Atman. It cannot be Atta. In the teaching of the group of his companions, the Buddha goes through each of the 5 khandhas. The first is rupa, material formed as just described. The second is feeling, vedana. The third is sanya, perception. The fourth is sankhara, mental formations. The fifth is vijnana, consciousness based on the senses. It's very systematic. First, there is the exploration of the physical realm, rupa. The other four are aspects of mind, nama. The Buddha says that each of those khandhas is in a state of change. It is subject to affliction and not permanently satisfying. He says that these khandhas are impersonal. They cannot be said to be a true self, who we really are, or our fundamental nature. This is not mine. This is not who I am. This is not myself. When we focus upon the characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, keeping these in mind as an ongoing reflection, and we look at the result of that reflection, how does it change our heart? In that moment of non-grasping, what is the quality of experience? This has to be known, realized by each individual for themselves. But the Buddha pointed out that it is when the grasping stops that the deathless is realized. This is the deathless, namely, the liberation of the mind through not clinging. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks for joining me this morning.